Check 1, check 2, check 3. Check 1, check 2, check 3. Don't want to hear myself. There we go. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. You guys are the best. As I was saying, there's going to be I have so many wires. Eventually, I'll have to show you this setup, but I have so many wires and so much chaos happening in this little room that there's eventually going to be a day where I try to slide into this stream like Collinsworth, catch a wire, face plant into this little desk, knock all the wires, rip them out of the computer, destroy everything, and, probably come on screen bleeding and then go viral, which I guess would be good for business because that's the world we live in. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today. Brought to you by Oddshark, as always. We're getting closer on the shot. Less of the wife's wardrobe, more of the door. A little too zoomed in on the dome, more so than the old days, but we'll deal with it. Great night last night. Absolutely fantastic night last night. So we'll start with the loser. We lost the over in the baseball game. Had over 8 runs, had a good reason for it. The bullpens just absolutely locking down at the end of that game. Congratulations to Clayton Kershaw for another great performance and to the Dodgers for putting the Rays on the brink. That will be one of the 4 picks. Tomorrow night's game 6, that'll be at the end of this thing. So that was the loser. Everything for Sunday Night Football hit. Everything. And they almost all hit in the first half. That's what was so incredible. We had Kyler Murray over passing yards, like never in doubt. By the way, everybody throws for 400 against Seattle. I think I'm just going to bet the opposing quarterback over every single week. Next up's Garoppolo, which, of course, Shanahan will probably want to run the ball the whole game. So that I don't know if I'll actually do that. But the point I'm getting at is everyone's throwing for massive yards against those guys. Murray over passing yards hit in the third quarter. Murray over longest completion, which was like 37.5. We almost had it in the first half with that 35-yard touchdown pass. We ended up getting it in the third quarter, so that was 2. We had DeAndre Hopkins over receiving yards. I think that hit in the first half, and if it didn't, it was really close. And then we had the over for the game, 4-0. 4-0 on Sunday Night Football. So 4-1 overall because we lost the baseball total. Grand total, 60 wins, 56 defeats. I told you we'd climb out of that hole. The question is, how far past do we go, or do we go back into the hole? Could happen at some point. Got to stay humble. Always easy to get excited about the wins. Enjoy the wins. Don't over-enjoy the wins. Experience the losses. Don't dwell on them, right? Learn from them and move on. So that's the goal. Before we get to tonight's game between the Rams and the Bears, I wanted to go over a couple notes. The point spreads for the upcoming week, week 8, have been moving like crazy already. Like you would figure some of these opening numbers would come out. It's the NFL. We're midway through the season almost. There's a certain level of sophistication. You wouldn't think you'd get these dramatic swings this fast, or at least in this many games, but you did. So here's what we're going to focus on very quickly. Brady and the Buccaneers. Oh my God, it's November next Sunday? Holy woo, probably should have known that, given that I typed the date into this video and it said the 26th. So you'd think I'd be up on that. So next Monday night, Brady and the Bucs are at the Giants. They opened as an 8.5-point road favorite. That's now up to 11. Get used to it. Tampa Bay is going to be a very popular bet the rest of the season. They just smashed the Raiders a week after beating up on Green Bay. I'm not saying go the other way because it's the Giants, but just keep it in mind. The value is going to be gone. Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This is a very interesting one. On the look-ahead line, Baltimore was a 6-point favorite. So this game came back out around 6. Baltimore on the bye. Pittsburgh beats undefeated, previously unbeaten Tennessee. It comes back out at 6. It's already been bet down to 4. So Steelers money hit the market early. We're going to talk about this on Bet Today, ESPN's digital streaming bet show. It's 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. You can find it on the ESPN Twitter stream, Facebook page, and on their sports betting YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. John Harbaugh off a bye in his career as the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. 10-2 straight up, 9-3 against the spread, plus 8.6 points. He's covering the point spread by. He's beating the point spread in those. I should have this. It was 12 games? In those 12 games, he's beating the point spread by an average of 8.6 points per game. So he's been really good coming off the bye. Didn't work for him in the playoffs last year, but it's a story for another day. But what do you do with the Steelers? I've loved the Steelers. I've been betting on the Steelers all season. Now I'm wondering, I'm getting for it. Baltimore, huge game against Tennessee. How are you going to respond against the Ravens? I don't know. Keep that one in mind. Working through, the Seahawks were originally laying, look-ahead line, upwards of 6.5 against the Niners. That's down to 3. Seattle's defense finally cracked. Same weekend, it happened to Tennessee and Seattle. I've been telling you, both have been living on borrowed time. Actually, the bottom was going to fall out. Any other key moves? Oh, yeah, believe it or not, Jets money showing up. The Jets were as high as a 21.5-point underdog at Kansas City. At 21 or 21.5, it was at least 21. 21 points in a non-college football game. And the Jets money has shown up, knocking it down to 19.5. That is incredible. Cleveland was laying 3.5 against the Raiders. That's dropped to 2.5. Odell Beckham out for the year with a torn ACL. Tennessee was laying 3.5 originally against Cincinnati. That's up to 6. And I believe that's it. A little money on Detroit. They'll be hosting Indianapolis. Colts were laying 3 in Detroit, down to 2.5. And let me see here if there's anything else. No, that's it. So those are some significant moves considering we're midway through the season. We've already seen that much. All right. So we're here for some picks. It's time to talk Monday Night Football. Bears, Rams. Nothing to worry about with the weather tonight. Kroenke Stadium, Kroenkeville, whatever it's being called. That thing looks nice. Look forward to getting in there. I think they can open the sides up to let the wind come through, but you're not going to have to worry about any weather coming in and affecting the game. Injuries tonight. Start with the Rams. Virtually nothing. Very healthy. Tyler Higbee, the tight end, who's played a big role, crushed Philadelphia a few weeks ago. He is questionable. This stuff all gets announced officially about 90 minutes before kickoff. Since we do this earlier in the day, we talk about what the list is, but we don't know for certain. Higbee questionable. On the Bears side of the equation, backup corner Sherrick McManus is out. Questionable list. Khalil Mack, Deion Bush, Buster Skrine. There's a few others. It's mostly backup role players, and then Khalil Mack, who is expected to play, although he was limited a bit throughout the course of the week. He's dealing with a back injury. Mack the back. These two got together last year in LA with the Rams winning 17-7, lower scoring affair. Matt Nagy, keep this in mind. I've got 3 picks on this game, and then I've got the baseball game. I don't have anything with the side. I hate to disappoint. I have nothing with the side. If you're thinking about a teaser, teasing the Rams from 6 down to pick 'em, that's an obvious one. If you tease the Bears up from 6 to 12, keep in mind, Matt Nagy, 39 games as the head coach of the Chicago Bears since he took over in 2018. Only 2 times has he lost by more than 10 points. Only twice. Shout out my man Brad Biggs for that stat, Chicago Tribune's finest. So I'm not playing a teaser here either. I just wanted you guys to have that note. Line move, the Rams were a 7-point favorite on the look-ahead line. That came down to 6.5 after last Sunday. The Bears had another nice performance. They went to Carolina. They beat the Panthers. In Chicago, they're convinced they're not getting any love or any respect from anyone nationally. I'm not going to say I'm surprised. I love Chicago. One of the great cities in the world. Great fans there, great people there. But we live in a world where people want to see good quarterback play, high-scoring games, and lots of offense. And the Bears don't offer that. Bears play an old-school style of football. Middling to below average offense and good defense. And they win games. You're 5-1. You're winning games, but you're not doing it in impressive fashion. That's why people haven't bought in yet. Good. Who cares? It doesn't matter what anyone thinks as long as you keep winning games. That's the only thing that matters. Don't worry if the national media likes you or not. Did anyone see last night, NBC, when everyone made their picks? 20 people, 10 people, everyone but Mike Tirico took Seattle. Is that what you want, Bears fans? Do you want the national media talking about how awesome you are? It doesn't really seem to work out. When it's that obvious, it usually goes the other way. Kind of like that Jets-Bills game. Everyone talking about how the Bills, no problem, they're going to smash the Jets. Rebound spot, blah, blah, blah. Jets almost won that game. At the very least, they kept it close and they covered the spread. So keep that in mind. So you have a Rams team that was a 7-point favorite on the look ahead, 6.5-point favorite when the lines came back out, and then it's now down the Rams -6. Not a ton of movement. It's off the key number of 7. We did see the Rams lose badly to the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. That image is fresh in everyone's head. A lot of people were looking to cut down the Rams early in the season. I was not. I like the Rams this year. I think they're pretty well balanced considering what you see in the NFC. Packers and Seahawks are too dependent on their quarterbacks. They don't have good enough defenses. Bears have a good defense, but the offense is an issue. NFC East is a complete joke. There's no reason to even analyze or discuss those teams. The Niners are all banged up. Issues everywhere. Rams aren't necessarily great, but they've got a pretty good defense. They've got a pretty good defense. I like the head coach. They were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. There's a lot to like there. So to lose that game to the Niners like that, you see why the number's coming down. But not a huge necessarily adjustment. The total has seen the biggest adjustment. It was as high as 47. It's down to 44.5. And that's where we begin with today's picks. 4 of them. First pick is going to be under 44.5. I know it's been a season of overs. Points have been at a premium. Everyone's been all over the place. I think this is going to be a grind fest tonight. I really do. I don't think Chicago's necessarily in some sort of mindset where they're going to come out and go as fast as they possibly can up and down the field. Take your time. Your defense is your most valuable asset. All right? They can't be on the field for 38 minutes tonight. They're going to be chasing around wide receivers who are just crossing all over the place. Key is let them get their stops and then no 3 and outs where they have to come right back on the field. So I think it's going to be a methodical style of offense tonight for the Bears. In addition to that, they're playing a good Rams defense that I believe is top 5 in opponent yards per play. Top 5 in opponent yards per play. Cat's in here. Shocking. I don't know. Maybe he'll want to make an appearance. I didn't even realize he was in this part of the house. So top 5, Aaron Donald probably going to cause a lot of disruption. Jalen Ramsey, marking Allen Robinson. It's going to be difficult for a Bears offense to get something going tonight. I don't see the Bears hanging 28 is what I'm saying, and I don't think that is necessarily some big revelation to a lot of people. I think they're going to struggle to move the ball. I think they're going to struggle to put up a lot of points. That's part of the reason why we see the total coming down. I don't think the Rams are going to be blowing anybody out either. All right? We saw this offense just last week against a pretty good Niners defense who has a lot of familiarity with them. The Rams seem to be playing the Niners. The Bears seem to be playing the Rams every year as well. They're getting a good look at him too, and they've had success. This pressure has had a lot of success against Jared Goff. So I don't think either team's going to move the ball up and down the field all that well. I really don't. That's why I'm going under 44.5. I don't see this being a blowout. I don't see it being a shootout. I will say that I hope we don't get any pick sixes, and the refs can just take it easy. That's it. Just take it easy. I don't want to see flags all over the field for pass interference. If it's obvious, call it. But if not, let's play some football tonight, okay? I don't want to see flags all over the field, free 50-yard plays all over the place. Pick number 1, under 44.5. I really don't see this thing. I mean, it was 24 total points last year when they got together. And I know we can't put a lot of weight on that, but I don't see this being your flying up and down the field type football game. I don't think the Bears are going to have a lot of big offensive plays. Number 2, Bears wide receiver Allen Robinson, under 72.5 receiving yards. 72.5 is a lot. And here's what I want you to keep in mind. With Jalen Ramsey's probably going to be following him around. Last year when these two got together, Robinson was targeted 6 times, catching only 4 passes for just 15 yards. 15 yards last year. I got my notes. I do it for you guys, not for me. It's not for this brain. It's for everyone. So we're already talking about a scenario where we don't think Chicago is going to roll up a ton of yards and a ton of points. They've already shown us throughout the course of the season that they struggle offensively. Allen Robinson is fantastic. I can understand why he wants his new contract and why he hasn't been excited to be in Chicago. They can't get him the ball. He's a very good receiver who is not talked about with other good receivers because he doesn't put up numbers because he's not playing in a good offense. Not necessarily his fault, but he has Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles throwing him the football. Tonight he's going up against Jalen Ramsey. So you've got a struggling offense. You've got a pedigree for not putting up big points and big yards and big plays. And then you've got one of the best corners in the game marking you throughout the course of the evening. And your total 72.5 after last year in this same situation, you only put up 15 yards. That's my favorite bet of the evening right there. If I was weighting them, that would be number 1. Robinson under 72.5 receiving yards. Chance for garbage time numbers, right? Obviously, if the Rams get up big, but I don't see it against that Bears defense. Like I said, lower scoring game. We see money coming in on the under. Relatively tightly contested game, I think. I'm not going to lay 6 with the Rams, and I don't really want to take 6 with the Bears. I could see the Rams getting some sort of like backdoor. Maybe they're up 3. Foles turns it over. Maybe they're up 4. Foles turns over. They kick a field goal, final 4 minutes, whatever. I don't want to mess with the side. I kind of lean Chicago, but I don't want to mess with it. Robinson under 72.5 receiving yards is play number 2. Play number 3 on the flip side, the running game for the Bears, David Montgomery. I don't know if he's going to do a whole lot in the running game. I do like him to catch over 3.5 passes tonight. Over 3.5. Now, I should have had this brought up. I did a lot of talk about a minute and a half ago about taking all these grand notes, how it's not for me, it's for you. It's for me because I clearly didn't have the notes I wanted to have up, which I'm now filibustering and trying to buy myself time before I bring this up. Montgomery, it's been a tale of 2 seasons in the passing game, right? Listen to his reception totals first 4 weeks. 1, 3, 2, 3. So you might ask yourself, and listen to his targets the first 4 weeks. 3, 3, 3, 6, which only led to 3 receptions. So you're probably thinking, Fortenbaugh, why would I bet over 3.5 receptions on this guy if you just read off his first 4 weeks and he recorded 1, 3, 2, and 3 receptions? He didn't go over it once because Tariq Cohen got hurt. And since Tariq Cohen has been hurt, Montgomery has gotten more snaps in the passing game, and he has factored in a big way. Last 2 games, 7 receptions and 4 receptions. 7 receptions came on 8 targets. 4 receptions came on 5 targets. Not only is he being targeted more often, not only is he catching more passes because of the Cohen injury, but tonight, with Aaron Donald and that Ram pass rush coming after him, Nick Foles, check it down. Nick Foles, check it down. Nick Foles, check it down. Dump it off to the guy. Now, I think it was the Tampa game 2 weeks ago on that Thursday night when we were doing the stream. I had the over for his receiving yards, and it got there. I'm going with I feel safer with the receptions. I don't know what the receiving yards is at. It's somewhere in the 30s, I'm sure. I don't think it's that bad. If you play that, it's probably pretty close to this one, but I like the target count. Excuse me. And I think there's going to be a lot of checkdowns in the game with the Donald pass rush and all that. So David Montgomery over 3.5 receptions. So 3 plays for tonight's game. Under 44.5 total points. Allen Robinson under 72.5 receiving yards. That's my favorite play. And David Montgomery over 3.5 receptions. For tomorrow night's game 6 at plus 128, I will be playing the Rays. This has been a zigzag theory. That's a word. It's been his dream for this series. Game 1, Dodgers. Game 2, Rays. Game 3, Dodgers. Game 4, Rays. Game 5, Dodgers. Game 6, betting the Rays. Plus 128. It's going to be Blake Snell, the lefty. He had a pretty good outing earlier in this series. The Dodgers hit lefties worse than they hit righties. They hit everyone well, don't get me wrong, but they hit lefties worse than they hit righties. Tony Gonsolin's going to go for the Dodgers. Right-handed pitcher. We're only going to see him for a little bit. Obviously, they're going to lean heavily on the bullpen for this game, so maybe Gonsolin goes for 2 innings, but the Rays have been a resilient bunch all year. I see no reason to count them out now. I think they have the edge with the pitching matchup, and you're getting plus 128. And remember, throughout the course of this series, the Dodgers have been these massive favorites. Massive favorites. Why? It's nothing against the Dodgers. Like, it's just disrespect to the Rays. This is a much closer series than any of these odds have indicated at any point, right? It's kind of like watching the Miami Heat throughout the course of the playoffs. They're an underdog in every game against Boston. Why? They won the series in 6. How are they always an underdog? I get at the beginning when you think they weren't going to contend with Boston, even though they had just run Milwaukee out of the building. I get it. But once you see it over a few games, you're not going to have them favored once. They were favored one time against Milwaukee. It was the last game when Giannis didn't play. Then they were an underdog in every single game against Boston. They won the series in 6. Then they were an underdog in every single game against LA. They won 2 of those games. LA, much better team. I'm not really going to do the same thing with them that I just did with Boston, but you get where I'm going. So I don't know. I think this is a tighter series, and this particularly is a much tighter game than the way it's being priced. Blake Snell and the Rays plus 128 tomorrow night. That's it. That's your stream. Thank you for coming. I always appreciate it. Under 44.5 in Bears-Rams, under 72.5 receiving yards for Allen Robinson, over 3.5 receptions for David Montgomery. Tomorrow night, Game 6, Rays, plus 128. You guys are the best for coming. The next one's going to be Thursday, same time. Mondays and Thursdays are always the same time. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Sundays, we always go twice. One in the morning, full rundown, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. And then we end up doing one in the afternoon at the conclusion of the last afternoon game. Subscribe to this channel. If I can get this channel up to 1,000 subscriptions, which is already north of 60, which is insane considering we just started this. So thank you for that as well. We get this thing up to 1,000. YouTube allows you to stream via your phones and tablets. I'm using a PC right now because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, hence the odder setup. Help me not trip over wires by subscribing to this stream, telling other people to subscribe to the stream so I can go back to the mini iPad, back this thing up, give myself some more room. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for me. Selfishly, do it for me. And on that note, we're done. Check my friends out at OddShark. Your boy was hot. Go to the website, Capper's Cup, right? They have the toolbar near the top with all the things you can click on. Capper Cup. Your boy yesterday, 4-1. I climbed up to 7th, 4-1, and I hit my best bet, which were 2 points. We're climbing. We're climbing. Thank you for subscribing. I very much appreciate that. Pay Russia for bot subscribers. What's Russia charging for bot subscribers? I'll look into it. Get this thing up to 1,000. Create some more space in here. All right, good stuff. Thank you all. Have a great Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I always do appreciate you checking this stream out. I'm going to change shirts. I put on formal shirts for this thing too. This is formal wear, cruise wear, formal wear, whatever. We're done. Bye-bye.